Okay, we are live now. Welcome to another free live training by yours truly. I'm Jason. If this is the first time we meet each other, I'm just gonna hang out a little bit and wait for everyone who wants to join me. Today's topic is about Facebook advertising mistakes. So fundamentally, if you run ads on Facebook, if you ever thought of running ads on Facebook, this is the training that you have to really attend. Today is a bit special today. Why? Because we are going live in two Facebook groups. Fundamentally, one is definitely our usual group that we are in right now. What's up, Chiwai? What is that? Man of culture. I like that. Sounds very interesting. So yeah, I mean, we've been doing this for a while right now. So basically, that's what we do. Hey, Wing, what's up? Wing is here. Wing is a good friend. Chiwai is also a good friend. Now today we are having two groups joining together while we are going live in our usual Facebook group at the Facebook Ads Transformation Group. We are also going live in a new group, which is what we call the so-called the Evergreen campaign. Now, I actually launched this 2-day live training on Saturday. And basically, it's a 2-day live training where I will definitely teach you how to build an evergreen Facebook ads campaign. It's quite powerful if you know what I'm talking about. Later, I'm going to give a little bit more explanation about what is an evergreen campaign. But nonetheless, if you're watching this in the evergreen campaign group, welcome to my universe. And this is the first time we meet each other. Thank you for joining us. And today is really where we're going to talk about a very interesting topic, which is the Facebook advertising mistakes. Hi, we have some new friends here. We have Dor. Hello, Dor. And we have some friends over here coming in. I think this should be on a different group, which I'm not seeing it right now because I have limited number of devices. I won't be able to just see everybody to come in like this. And we have Aaron here. Aaron, wow, it's been a while. Okay, that's what we do every week, and this is already like kind of like I lost count. Is week 5 we're doing this or week 4? Something that I wanted to do for a really long time. Why? Because I truly believe that despite I do have my own Facebook ads training and courses and everything else, there are certain things that I truly believe can be just here, and I'm just going to share with you whatever that I can, right? So that's the reason why I wanted to do something like this. And yeah, truth to be it's actually possible to do that. Okay, and Dora was asking, would there be replay? The replay is this one. You just need to come back to this group and find this will do. All right. Hey, Joseph, what's up? Okay, now yeah, today's topic is about Facebook advertising mistakes. Why I choose this topic? First thing first, because last week I was actually being interviewed by Michelle Hon, which is one of our Tree Marketer show guests, because she runs a podcast, apparently very successful. She's already currently running at about close to 50 episodes right now. Can you imagine that? The Tree Marketer show, we were just bragging that we're hitting 52, and there are a lot more people who are doing the same thing. It's all about consistency. And for those who know me, you know that I'm the kind of person that, when I choose to do something, I would definitely do my best to commit to what I've started. So while during the interview, because her audience was pretty much a lot of like maybe, startup people who wants to build business from home, because Michelle is the CEO of the Mom Boss Academy, which is an academy that help stay-home moms jumpstart their businesses while staying at home and growing up together with the kids. Because she was she actually started her own business when she was actually taking care of the kids. She has 3 kids, 3 children. I mean, and she's building multiple 6-figure revenue right from home, and she has all the freedom that she wants. So her audience is pretty much that. And we were talking about Facebook advertising because, of course, when they want to interview me, definitely I have to talk about Facebook advertising because that's what we do, right? That's my, that's me. That's Jason Gunn. The moment you think about Facebook advertising, you probably think of Jason Gunn, you think of Facebook advertising. I hope it's the other way around as well. But nonetheless, we had a good chat. And then because we started with a topic like, she was asking, hey, what are the mistakes that one should avoid as a Facebook advertiser? And I was like, wow, that's crazy a lot, man. Because to be frank, I started running ads in 2009. Who started advertising at that, as early as me? You know what? At that point of time, right, Facebook Ads Manager, it wasn't even a Facebook Ads Manager. It was really just some simple interface that, will allow you to just plug in your credit card and you start running ads or start showing your post to people. Super, super, primitive, I call that. Okay, but then again, at that point of time, Facebook advertising was truly amazing. Why? Because suddenly it opens up the possibility of allowing us to reach people like the never before, right? So that was really the fun. Started in 2009, and over the past 11, 12 years, right, working on this industry itself, I actually realized there are a lot of mistakes that can be avoided. And when you avoid these mistakes, in fact, you're not just able to gain the clarity in terms of what you need to do, how to do it right when it comes to Facebook advertising. You are also able to save a lot of money. It's really about the money saving part that matters. So today, I was just preparing the slide. As you probably know, I prepared my slide on the, just on the fly. So today, I actually prepared about 49 mistakes that you should avoid. I'm just kidding. At the end of the day, I choose about 7. Today, we have 7 to go. We have 7 main topics that I believe that are more commonly made mistakes. And I just want to quickly share with you on this thing. So you guys ready? It's very casual, right, guys? As you all know that this is kind of like a free training, and it's not something that carved on a stone that you have to, have to take your attendance, you have to check in and all that, It's just go with the flow, just have fun, right? And when you have any questions at all, even if you're watching the replay, you know that the replay will be available inside each of the groups that you belong right now. Don't worry, just ask away. And basically, we're just gonna have fun, right? Okay, cool, right? Let me see. So this is somebody on the other group, and Intan is here. What's up? And this also on the other group. And Chiwai said, you are ready. You're ready to see how I tick off each of the mistakes I committed. In fact, when I say committed, I totally agree with you, Chiwai. All these mistakes that I'm going to share with you are all the mistakes that I committed myself. I made all the mistakes themselves. In fact, the 49 mistakes that I listed down, which I only choose 7 to share with you tonight, all 49 of them, I actually made all these mistakes myself. That's why I am, allowed to talk about this, because I'm just like you. Put it this way, I always like one phrase or one statement by my good partner Chun Yen. He always say, every master was once a disaster. Put it this way, if you do Facebook advertising day in, day out for the past 11, 12 years like me, you'll definitely be as good as me or better than me. It's all about practice. Like the other day, I was just having a discussion with one of my coaches. And this guy actually manages he is managing right now, because previously he has a team, but now he has to set up the role and he needs to get more involved. Actually, this guy actually, wait, let me see. I think he spends close to about 10,000 US dollar on Facebook ads every month. Okay. And every time we go on a coaching call, every time we look at a different scenario, he was saying the same thing. Almost every time he would say the same thing to me. He said, Jason, how do you learn all these things, Facebook ads? I mean, you give me all these metrics, the way to look at things and all that. I've never seen it before. I've never heard it before, but it sounds logical. See, it's all about logic. That's why when I was training about the Facebook ads analytics, you actually see it. I actually look at the numbers in an entirely different way. In fact, these are all experience. It's all actually just, you get better about that, That's how it works. So I'm just going to bring the slide up. I do have a slide. Simple one, as you know. So the topic today is what we call the Facebook advertising mistakes. So fundamentally, I'm going to summarize about 7 costly mistakes all Facebook advertisers must avoid at all costs. So basically, just before we roll into it, because we do have different groups coming together over here, I just want to quickly establish a little bit why am I qualified to talk about this thing. In case you're on, the Evergreen campaign group that you are not sure that who the hell is this guy. The first thing first, thank you for joining the group anyway. And nonetheless, I would like to welcome you to the, 2-day training. And if you guys have not joined, if you guys are on the other group, if you have not joined the 2-day training, go over and sign up for that. It's a very powerful training that I put together for you. But nonetheless, who am I? Who am I? Jason, I'm Jason Gan. I'm from Malaysia. Okay, as we can see, we have quite a diverse audience coming from the ASEAN region. Okay, my audience are mostly from the ASEAN region. We have Malaysians, Singaporeans, Philippines, and Thai, Indonesia. These are all my audiences. These are all the fundamental market that I serve. Okay, and who am I? I have been helping brands navigating success on Facebook advertising and business digitalization since 2010. So for the past 11 years or so, I have actually worked with over 200 brands, more than 200 brands. And, these are all the agency part of, agency clients, because I was running an agency from 2010 to 2020 last year. I decided to just, close that part of business last year because I decided to fully focus on training and coaching. But after that, I actually managed 200 over brands from the Asian region as well. Okay, so that's what I do, and I'm also a Facebook Blueprint certified professional. If you know what is that, it is official certification by Facebook for those who actually wants to get accredited, and we need to resit the exam every year to stay certified. So that's what we do, and I've been certified since 2017. And I'm also a Facebook preferred marketing partner. Okay, if you know what is that, that means that's like a tier for agencies. So even though I'm no longer taking clients, I'm still coaching a lot of clients coming from different industries and different countries. In order to be a preferred marketing partner, my business manager account needs to manage at least, and coach, of course, I'm no longer managing, but these are all parked under my business manager. Accumulatively, we need to spend at least 325,000 US dollars in order to stay in the preferred tier. So I just quickly calculated in the last 6 months, we spent close to about 600 over thousand in US dollar in Facebook advertising budget. So that's how we can actually stay. I mean, this is not a bragging thing, but I think it's more important for us to establish the kind of understanding about why am I qualified to talk about these things. In fact, I actually look at big amount of campaign data every day, on a coaching basis. This is what I actually do, and a lot of things that I'm going to share with you today, and even in the future, in all the trainings that I have, are truly based on my own experience. Okay, I'm a practitioner, and I coach a lot of businesses in serious businesses for investing big bucks in Facebook advertising. So I've been teaching and coaching. Okay, over the past. I started training in 2016. In fact, it's kind of like accidental kind of diversion. I was still running my agency at that point of time, but because I was given the opportunity and said, hey, Jason, why don't you train? So I did realize, okay, I didn't know whether I would like training or not. And turns out I love it. That's why, I can really come into the, come in front of the camera and talk away like nobody's business, even though today, we don't have a very big audience over here, but nonetheless, I'm the kind of person who can really yam away because that's what I do. I truly believe that if I'm able to help any one of you to create an aha moment in helping you to get the right way of doing Facebook ads, it's the impact that I wanted to make. So yeah, so this is me. So let's roll into the content. It's into our training today. Let's roll. And like I said, I have seven so-called mistakes that I want you to avoid at all costs. So today it's all about Facebook advertising mistakes. And nonetheless, if you have any issue, if you have any questions, if you have anything you want to comment, feel free to type away in the comment section. Okay, as and when I can, I will just stop. You don't need to wait until the moment. I'm just gonna pick it up and we can actually chat about this, right? Like Chiwa was saying, quote of the day: every master was once a disaster. I truly agree, right? I hope you do as well. And somebody else was saying, aha, really? Okay. All right. So yeah, the first mistake, okay, it's about not knowing what you're doing. Seriously, 5,000 over students later, up to today, I would say safely, at least 50 to 60% of them. I hope you're not one of them, but 50 to 60% of all the Facebook advertisers that I cross path with in one way or another do not really know how Facebook advertising works. You get what I mean? Now, like I still get questions like, Jason, how like what's the difference between Facebook ads and Google ads? I still get questions like that. Because you see, when it comes to advertising, digital advertising, let's put it this way. Fundamentally, let's talk about Google ads as the search engine, the SEO, SEM, search engine marketing, advertising on Google search engine. Okay, fundamentally, these two are two different things. Like I always like to refer. I mean, let's put it this way. Let's give you a little bit of food for thought. That's in like metaphor. Let's do a bit. Like in my opinion, Facebook advertising is very much like distributing flyers. It's just like when you go on the street, you print some flyers, you distribute flyers. So the only thing that you can do is, you just get your flyers ready, you get it printed and all this kind of thing, and you go over to a place or a street. I mean, we can't do that anymore, but nonetheless, you go to a place and you believe, this is where your audience hang out. So what you do is you go over there, or you get a bunch of people to be there, and you start distributing flyers. So a few things you have to take note over here. Whether these people who receive your flyers, they take a look at it or not, or they just chuck it away and throw it into rubbish bin, the cost is incurred. The cost has been incurred. I mean, you have already paid for that, but for the printing and you have paid for the distribution, you have paid for that. Okay, done. Whether you get result or not, that's another story. That's fundamentally how Facebook advertising works. It is essentially push advertising. And if you ask me, it is actually the closest Facebook advertising is very, very similar to conventional advertising. That's why I use the flyer distribution as an example. You get what I mean right now? So it's just like distributing flyers. The moment you get it printed and you get it delivered, okay, all the costs, you already pay for that. Regardless the person who received your flyer, whether they take a look at it or whether they take action on it, whether they call the number that you printed there so that they will become a customer or whatnot, that's the number one thing. You already paid for that. So the moment you are running ads on Facebook, you have to really be very careful about. That's why we pay a lot of attention about the optimization. Now, although I use flyer distribution as an example, but nonetheless, it is still a very big difference compared to distributing flyers versus Facebook advertising. You see, when it comes to Facebook advertising, when it comes to distributing flyers, you won't be able to immediately track whether the person who received your flyer, whether they read or not, whether they take the next action or not, whether they actually pay attention to that piece of information, whether they interact with the piece of information or not. You can't. You won't be able to make quick adjustment or any instant, optimization or modification as and when you go. But when it comes to Facebook advertising, it's another story. Because the moment you start running ads, all the data starts coming in. The moment it starts coming in, you'll be able to analyze. You'll be able to see whether, okay, now you have reached 1,000 people, out of which how many actually click and engage with your advertisement, how many actually click and go over to the next destination. These are all the numbers that is being presented to you almost instantly. So the moment you have all these numbers, you're able to make justification or modification quickly to make sure that you can optimize your ROI. So that's how it works. Now, on the other hand, when it comes to Google advertising, okay, like CY puts it right, let me bring it up here. CY was saying Google search, the intent is there because the users is already searching for a particular thing in mind. Exactly. So when you're advertising on Google advertising, fundamentally the search engine advertising, thank you, CY, you are actually going to places where people are already looking for you. So you have to put a different mindset over here. Facebook advertising is fundamentally a form of push advertising, whereby you try to go to places where your audience hang out. This is exactly where they hang out on Facebook. And then you pinpoint all these things based on location and all that, and you push the information out to them. That's how the whole thing works. That's it at Facebook advertising. Now, when it comes to Google advertising, it's about pull advertising, which means you actually appear as in when somebody is looking for you. And then when they see you, whether they click over to your place or not, that's entirely up to you, up to them. So whether your keyword placement is correct, whether you choose the right keyword, whether you wrote the most comprehensive and powerful the ad copy. So when they come over, when you attract them to come over, then the next thing is whether you will ask the question whether your website is optimized, whether it's actually, actually work in a very powerful way to convert your audience, to get them to take the next action. That's how the whole thing works. So fundamentally, Facebook advertising and Google advertising are two different things. And put it this way, okay, when it comes to Google search engine marketing, first search engine advertising, you get paid every time somebody clicks. So a lot of people will have all these, I call that the Google advertising or Google search engine advertising mindset. So they will always compare, okay, now this is my cost per click, this is my cost per click. I want to actually optimize for the lowest cost per click and all these kind of thing. Because you have been trained on Google side, you only pay as and when somebody clicks. So every time you distribute your appear, people don't click, you don't play. But when people pay, when people click, you pay for that. But on Facebook side, it's a different story. On Facebook side, every time, you see, I gave you the example just now. Every time your advertisement appear, it's as if you have printed the flyer and handed out to the audience. Regardless the audience take action or not, you pay. So that's the difference. So when it comes to Facebook advertising, the things we look at is of a different kind of vertical. We look at different set of metrics when it comes to optimization and all these kind of things. So yeah, that's the fundamental thing. So you have to understand how Facebook charge you. That's why this is exactly the next question. A lot of people actually don't understand how Facebook ads charge you guys. But before I go, I see there is a question coming from Dor. Which is more effective, Google or Facebook? I can't answer this question. Let's put it this way. Like for example, if you are in certain business that people really look for you on search engine, then of course Google is the better place. But if you are that kind of business, especially if you are in, let's say if your product is pretty new and your product requires a little bit more visual communication to let people feel good, attract people to take the action, then Facebook will be a better place. Because fundamentally, Google advertising or Google search engine advertising is very much on the texts and texts and texts, right? And Facebook, you can actually present more things. So I would rather answer that way. There is no right or wrong. You just have to go in and see which one is more suitable for you. Dor, I hope I answered your question. And sure, are saying my example of flyer is good, you're going to use that story. You feel free to do that. It's actually the right, that's the right metaphor if you look at it. So Facebook advertising is just like, you just imagine, because I work with a lot of those so-called, conventional businesses all the time, because one of the area that I, focus a lot throughout my entire career was really to help all these conventional business to digitalize. So when they try to digitalize, you imagine I work with those people who are like 50, 60 over a year old and all that. They have been so good in what they do for so long. You need to find a way to actually let them understand what is this all about. So that's how I do it. So when it comes to Facebook advertising, you have to really understand that Facebook don't charge you every time a person click or a person buy or a person become your lead. Facebook charge you every time they show your ads. That's the reason why, we look at CPM very seriously. Of course, we will also examine whether our cost per result, our cost per click is satisfactory. But fundamentally, you have to understand that Facebook charge you every time they show your ad. That's how it works. Okay, so these are all the things. So when it comes to Facebook advertising, let me bring back to the number one mistakes. You see, a lot of people really don't know how Facebook advertising works, and I hope after today's training, you get a better, you gain the clarity as in like, what is this all about? How does it work? But of course, there are a lot more things that is included in these particular mistakes itself. But I hope you get a fundamental idea, which is Facebook advertising fundamentally is a form of push advertising. And every time they show your ad, you pay. That's the few things that you need to understand. So that's the reason why we look at the CPM and we look at the click-through rate. We look at whether our creative is being optimized, whether people are actually taking action. But of course, if you want to trace further down the action funnel, then we also look at whether when they click, how many % of them land on the website, how many % of them take the action, and we track every single layer of that, every single step of the action funnel. And that's how we find areas to improvise. Let's say, for example, The other day, I was just looking at a case where we have very good click-through rate, as in like on the front end. Okay, let's say we have a very good click-through rate at maybe about, link click-through rate at about 3%, which means every 100 people who see the ad, okay, 3 of them will actually click and go over to the next step. That's a very powerful metric if you look at it. You see, but the problem here is they have very, very poor purchase. So the moment we look at the front end, we will say that the advertisement has no issue. The advertisement is attracting the person to take the right action. They are clicking. And then we dig deeper and look at the other metrics such as, so let's say, for example, we recorded about, 3% click-through rate, go to the next step. But then we realize out of every 100 people who click, let's say, on the surface, we can look at the click. There are only about 20 over less than 30 people who landed on the website. You see where I'm coming from? So from there, we realized, okay, now that's not the advertisement problem. It is really the landing page problem. Then we went on and tested the loading time, and then we realized, really, the website loading time was ridiculous. That's why out of 100 people who click on the advertisement, there were only about less than 30 people who landed on the website itself, on the landing page itself. That's why instead of working on the advertisement itself, we went on to tweak, we work on, the landing page loading time, which significantly, after we fix that thing, we increase, the conversion from click to landing to about 50%. In fact, that's about the satisfactory level. But these are all the metrics that we look at, the moment we dive deeper into your advertisement. But that's, just to give you an example about how do we look at all these things, how do we read the data to make sense of whatever that we are looking at. Especially when running ads on Facebook, we are actually spending money. That's why we have to make sure that we're actually getting the most out of our ad spend, right? So, okay, now the next thing I want to talk about here is this is also one of the most commonly made mistakes. I would say at least 60 to 70% of the Facebook advertisers that I work with, or the cross path with, do not know whether they are using the right Facebook advertising objective or not. Okay, so let's put it this way. Are you sure that you're using the right Facebook advertising objective to run your Facebook ads right now? How many percent of you are sure about that? So if you're sure, then you hashtag damn sure. If you're not sure, then hashtag not sure. This is one of the biggest, most commonly made mistakes, seriously. So when it comes to Facebook advertising, fundamentally, now if you only know boost posts, then of course you are at a very, very entry level. So you need to understand there are more things than boost posts. There are more than boost posts. Okay. So if you have only used boost posts, then this is really something that you have to be working on at the moment. So yeah, I can see there are certain people said not sure. Okay, so this is on the other group. Chiwa was saying confirm plus chop sign good. You have to, right? And Intan was saying not sure. Okay, okay. Here's the thing. This is the first thing you have to get clear about. When it comes to Facebook advertising, this is the first thing you have to get clear about. Now, let me give you a very simple example to understand Facebook advertising objective. Now, like I mentioned just now, right? I started advertising on Facebook since 2009. Okay, there was the time I launched my first campaign for my ex-employer. So 2009, we launched our first campaign. At that point of time, in fact, if I'm not mistaken, boost was one of the few options, and growing page likes was one of them, and stuff like that. It's very, very preliminary. And at that point of time, you know what? Boosting a post gets you crazy awesome result. You get what I mean? So at that point of time, because it's very, very preliminary, it's very primitive, very new. Boosting a post fundamentally allows you to reach almost everybody on Facebook, because at that point of time, Facebook don't have that many people, and we don't have that many Facebook advertisers. It was kind of like a wild, wild west. So eventually, a lot of people who started boosting at that point of time get very good results. And then Facebook advertisement, Facebook Ads Manager started to evolve. So when Facebook Ads Manager started to evolve, okay, then people start to get confused. And when they started to evolve, the first thing you realize if you monitor the evolution of the whole thing. The first thing that evolved is they started to give different combination of objectives. At one point, we had about 15 objectives available. Can you imagine that? Okay, so now actually it's kind of like stable down. We have 11 objectives. Now, this is the most important thing that you have to wrap your mind around. You have to really understand what are you doing and what are you getting. Okay, like we have Dora was saying, like when is boost required? Her boost is a waste of money. Okay, and Chiwa was saying boost post is somewhat similar to your engagement objective. Okay, Chiwa is totally correct. Now, this is a very interesting question. Dora was asking when is boost required? I would say if it's be suitable for your business, then do it all the time. It's not about whether it's required or not. You see, that's why you have to actually start at the right place. It's not about whether it's required or not. You have to understand what are you trying to get. Okay, I wouldn't say boost post is a waste of money. I wouldn't say that. It's just, I mean, put it this way. Let's put it this way. If boost post is that bullshit, let's be very logical about this thing. If boost post is that bullshit, if boost post is that useless, why do you think Facebook is still keeping it there? You get what I mean? You see where I'm coming from? If it's that ridiculous, it's that bullshit, right? Facebook should have gotten rid of it long time ago. Why is it? Why are they still keeping it there? Because it serves a purpose. It works on certain situation. It works on certain scenario. It works on certain, like objective or requirements or situation that you're at right now. Let me give you some example. Now, first thing first, let's take a step back. Let's take a step back and look at the whole thing. Like, okay, before that, Chiwa was saying you had a magical moment. You use boost post by the CTA button, put in WhatsApp, and you get leads in a way. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like a different, I mean, Chiwa, for your information, guys, Chiwa runs an agency. So he helps clients manage Facebook ads. He kind of, it's kind of like what I did, before last year. So this guy definitely would have the ability to test crazy different things over there. But nonetheless, he's advanced level, just so that you guys know. Okay, who are you hanging out with, right? But nonetheless, if you guys need help when it comes to Facebook advertising, if you need an agency, I would say Chiwai is a reliable partner that you can consider. Okay, so Chiwai is cool. Chiwai is cool. You guys can connect with Chiwai if you need an agency. But if you want to do it yourself, then you have to learn from Jason Gunn, right? So that's how the whole thing works, okay? And Chiwai say your goal is to be like Jason. I mean, it's not hard to be like me. You just do what I do. I think that's pretty much that, right? Okay, now let's come back to the advertising, the action. Now, despite there are 11 objectives available, let me give you a very simple way to think of it, to understand it as the framework. Okay, I'm not gonna go in and give you all the steps, about the things that you need to do, about whether you what time you want to use Facebook ads objective, or what time you want to use conversion objective, what scenario you want to use, engagement objective. I don't want to go through that because that's a very technical thing. But let me help you understand. Fundamentally, as what it has become, right now, Facebook advertising objectives are fundamentally the way that decide what action you're gonna get. So for the past, how many years have you been using Facebook, by the way? How many years you have been using Facebook? Okay, so if you have been using Facebook for a long time, like me, I've been using Facebook for 13 years now, 13 or 14. Anyway, so I started in 2018, right? 2008, wait, 2008. So now it's about 2021, it's about 13 years now. I've been using Facebook for 13 years. Now, you know what happened? You know what is that? What does it mean? That means Facebook knows me better than my mom. Now, in fact, Facebook knows me better than myself. I have no clue what I posted 5 years ago today, but Facebook keeps a record. You get what I mean? So that's exactly why Facebook is powerful in that way, because they have been recording, I would say, for my case, is about 1/3 of my life. Can you imagine that? Facebook has been recording 1/3 of my life spent on the internet. So Facebook knows exactly what we do, and they know exactly what we will do. the moment we are being presented a piece of information. So that's the way you understand Facebook ads objective. The moment you are actually using certain objective, you are locking on the group of people who are going to take that particular action. So let's take boost, for example. Okay, we have been discussing about boost post, right? Now let's take boost, for example. Now a lot of people say boost is useless. Now let me say, I beg to differ. Why? Okay, let's put it this way. Boost, when you boost a post, you know what you're going to get? When you boost a post, you're telling Facebook that, hey, I want to get people to like my post, to share my post, to comment on my post. Get it? Engagement. All right? TY said that right. So when you use the boost objective, you're telling Facebook that you want to get likes, comments, and shares. Now, let me ask you this question. All of us, whether we are still using posting on Facebook, we are still browsing Facebook on a daily basis. All right? A lot of us have become silent surfer like me. I don't post much, okay? I just, consume information. So let me ask you this question. When was the last time, okay? When was the last time you shared an advertisement? Advertisement, not your friend's post, not your girlfriend's post, not your husband's post. When was the last time you shared an advertisement? Yeah? So if you don't share advertisement anymore, then when was the last time you commented or even liked an advertisement? Exactly, that's what I mean. We stopped doing that already. You get what I mean? We stopped doing that already. So when we stop doing that, you know what does it mean? We do not belong to this group of people. So let's say, for example, if you're creating an advertisement, you're trying to target people like Jason, and you use boost button, it's not going to work because I do not take this action. Hence, Facebook will not show your advertisement to me. You get what I mean? So who will Facebook show your ads to? Those people who like a lot, comment a lot, they don't care, they just like everything. They just, that's really what they do because they thought that's what they do. So you probably will get some, some people that you don't want them to see your advertisement, and you start complaining that, oh, Facebook is bullshit. They give you all these fake likes. They give you all these fake people. They show you, they actually get ghosts to like your post and all this kind of thing. Where got so many ghosts, my friend? Have you met a ghost before in your entire life? I mean, seriously? And have you actually encountered any situation where Facebook helped you to like any other post in the past, like 12 years using Facebook? My friend, it doesn't happen. It's just that you choose the wrong objective. That's why you're getting the wrong audience. Now, that's where we are actually, you see where we are going right now? The moment you choose the wrong objective, here's the next aha moment that you want to listen carefully and capture. The moment you choose your wrong objective, no matter how well you go and do your bloody audience targeting and all these settings and whatnot, you are still gonna get the wrong audience because you start with the wrong action that you want to get. You send the wrong signal to Facebook. You send the wrong message to Facebook about what you are trying to get. That's why you have to really gain the clarity about what do you need to get to achieve your business objective. So let's say if you're selling on your e-commerce website, so what do you want? You want people to bloody click and go over to your website and buy, right? So you have to choose your objective based on all these actions and see which one is more suitable based on your different scenario that you have. Now, you probably can't go straight to conversion because your website is new and your pixel is not set up properly, and then we go for the next best thing and all these kind of things. So you have to understand objective from that angle. And that's the reason why I spend a good amount of time telling you why is this mistake a very, very fatal one, because the moment you start with the wrong objective, everything crumbles. Do not cry to Facebook and say that, bullshit, you asshole, give me the wrong people and all that. Hey, come on. You click all the things. You do all the things yourself. That's why you need to learn. That's why you need to learn, right? Aaron was right. You need to learn from me. Nonetheless, we are learning together over here. So this is the very important mistakes that you have to avoid at all costs. You get what I mean? You get what I mean? Are we pretty cool? So far, so good? Okay, have you gotten anything? Oh, wait. now 2 mistakes so far. Okay, are you guilty to any one of them? If you have made any of the mistakes, hashtag guilty. Okay, if you're not, then just be quiet. Just if you're now, then you don't be like TY come back and hashtag confirm never made something like that. I mean, yeah, if you have made any of the mistakes so far, we have 2 right now, hashtag guilty. Now moving forward, if any of the mistakes you are making right now, or if you have made it before, hashtag guilty, so that I know, I mean, just hang out a little bit, right? So that's how the whole thing worked. So Joseph was saying, wait, let me see. Joseph was saying how I wish I meet Jason earlier. I mean, it's not too late. It's never too late. If you met me like 2 years ago, then probably we would have been doing something different, right? So Chia was saying, sure, got guilty before. That's before me, Jason. Wow, that's cool, right? So yeah, we have someone saying guilty. Don't worry. That's why you start doing the right thing today. And that's the power of this, right, Aaron? That's the power of learning together, right? So yeah, objective is one of a very major one, if you ask me. Objective is a very major one because so many people actually do this, and at the end of the day, the whole thing falls apart. So that's why you have to start with the right thing. Okay, now the third one, this is very, very, very powerful as well. A lot of people advertising without analyzing. You get what I mean? Advertising without analyzing. Guilty, hashtag guilty. But here's the thing. You see, for those who work with me, like we have Joseph here, we're working on a project together, and we have like, who else? Eloise is not here today. We're in a few who are actually on, private coaching with me. The moment we go in and look at the numbers, right, it's kind of difficult for us to really do a set of, these are all the numbers that you have to, because the way of looking at the number was really totally different. Like, let me give you an example. Like today, I was just, I mean, almost every day I have coaching calls. Okay, that's what I do anyway. So I'm actually working with a coachee this morning. We were looking at last week's data. So in last week's data, generally 30% of their advertisement went up by about at least 30 to 100%. Okay, at least 30% of the advertisement. I think they have about close to get about 30 ads running altogether. So 10 campaigns or 10 ad sets altogether were having an underperforming week. So one of a particular campaign was really bad. It actually, the cost per result went up by 100%. So last week we had about $90 per lead. This week it went up to about $180 per lead. Now, when this thing happened, let me give you something very interesting. You see, here is my philosophy. Okay, I'm that kind of person. You see, here's what people do. Here's what most people do. If you are that kind of person, hashtag guilty. That's okay. Just keep it to yourself. This one you don't need to tell me. Now, how many of you, like a lot of people that I meet, right? A lot of people that I work with, the moment they have an unsuccessful Facebook ads, you know what they do? You just chuck it together and throw it into the rush bin and start doing a new one. So they go back to the drawing board and look at, let's dive in and look at which audience targeting combination should I create this round. Or let's look at, come designer, help me do different set of design. I have like this aha moment in my head right now. Come, let's do all this together. Here's the thing. Whether a campaign is successful or not successful, it's the best learning opportunity if you agree. But how many of you actually go back and dissect what went wrong? How many of you? That's what I do. That's what I do for the past 10 years. That's why my sensitivity towards numbers is different. So the moment we see 100% jump in cost, so then we went in. We went in and looked at it and look, the CPM jumped by only 30%. The CPM means that's the cost that you pay. I mean, we will get deeper on that, but nonetheless, CPM, cost per 1,000 impression, that's the cost that you pay Facebook. Now the CPM went up by 30%. How can the number went up by, how can the cost per result went up by 100%? And then we look at it, the CTR drop, the CTR drop, CTR dropped by not very significant. But then again, it still doesn't add up to the number why we become like 100% jump, in terms of the cost per result. And then we dig in deeper. You know what happened? It was actually the frequency. Because the CPM jumped by 30%, however, the frequency dropped by actually 20%. So that's a very important number that is coming in already. Like CPM jumped 30% means increased by 30%, but the cost per result went up by 100%. Okay, so what happened is when the CPM jump, that means when CPM jump, you're able to reach lesser people with the amount that you're spending. So theoretically, if your CPM jump by 30%, you should reach 30% lesser people. But for this case, it is not the case because this is technical. I'm just gonna give you some case over here. For those who get it, you will get it. This is a very powerful learning. So what happened is because of the CPM and the and the cost per result jump was not proportionate. So we went in and looked at it, and then we realized it was the frequency that actually caused even lesser people reach in the past 1 week. So that's the reason why. So fundamentally, then we realized that okay, it's the frequency and all this kind of thing. It was really that thing that is causing the problem. It's not the ad, it's not other thing. So what we decided to do is we just keep it going for another week. So that's how we actually look at the numbers. On a weekly basis, every week, right? The data will give you something very meaningful for you to take action on. But I would say, this is what I would say, based on the past 5,000 over people that I cross path with, 90% of them don't know how to analyze. 90% of them don't know how to analyze. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing. 90%. So at the end of the day, when you don't know how to analyze, you don't know what you did right. You don't know what you did wrong. You don't know how to improvise. How can you avoid the same mistake in the future? You get what I mean? It's very important. It's always important that we know why we fail. That's why I say that, I love my entire journey in the past 10 plus years of me failing in business or in campaigns, alike, because all these failures are learning opportunities that makes you better. But a lot of people just don't learn, and you need to. That's why you need to start learning how to analyze, because that's the only way. Because more and more Facebook advertisers are coming into the market right now, okay? And the level of knowledge, the level of awareness is already coming up. So if you're not able to catch up to that level, you're losing out. You're losing out to people like me. You're losing out to people like Joseph, because Joseph is learning that part. So when we learn how to see the numbers, when we learn how to actually go against the hack and hack through all these things, you lose out to people like us. It's a very powerful thing. That's why, numbers. You need to get good with numbers, but of course, you don't need to get good at all the numbers. You only need to learn how to look at your own set of numbers. And that's what I work with my coaches. Okay, in weeks, if not months, I'll be able to teach you what are the numbers to look at and how do we optimize. Like some clients has been with me, some coaches has been with me for years now. In fact, after years, we are still seeing new combinations. And in fact, this is what's happening. But at least you need to gain the most fundamental eyes for your own campaign. All right? So that's only number 3. How many of you guilty? Don't know analyze. Like we have Joseph guilty. We have Dor guilty. All right? So that's exactly, Chiwa was saying the frequency CPM story is so interesting. I mean, that's what we do. Dive in 30 campaigns, 30 different numbers, it's fun. It's fun. But, that's the best way to train your eyes, right, for the numbers. Okay, so that's the number 3. Now, number 4. How many of you always go back and look at, okay, now today I want to now draw, go and type all this interest targeting, detailed targeting. Now let's test this set. Tomorrow I go and type, let's test another set. Today I type, let's test one set. How many of you are obsessed with detailed targeting? Now, how many of you have done something that, let's break 10 assets. Each one will have one detailed targeting. This is Tony Robbins, this is Dean Graziosi, this is Russell Brunson. Let's see which one works better. Who is doing that? Who is guilty for that? Chiwai here, 4 still guilty. I mean, okay. I wouldn't say that it's guilty. I'm not saying that you don't want to do that. You have to do that. But a lot of people are just overly obsessed with this thing. There are so many people who are still overly obsessed with this thing. I'm not saying it's bad. Let's put it this way. I'm not saying it's bad. Sometimes it may not be what you imagine. That's why I want to bring it back to you. I've been talking about this during my live sharings, during my classes and all that. In fact, Facebook wants us to go broad. So sometimes, if you have the luxury, try broad and optimize from there. Because the moment you niche into your audience, let me tell you the consequences. A lot of people likes to niche in. I really want to niche into this group of people and all this kind of thing. Now, let me tell you the pros and cons. Now, the pro, of course, the moment you niche in, you're narrowing your audience to that particular so-called retail targeting or interest that you're choosing, which you believe they will become your customer. Now, I have to agree to a certain extent. Like, for example, my good friend Christopher, he only sells iPhone casing. So definitely you have to zoom into iPhone users. Fair. Granted, that's correct. That's correct. So the moment he go for that, but here's the cons of it. Now, the cons of it is the moment you go narrow down to specific things like that, your CPM will definitely jump. Because the audience is very niche. The CPM will jump. Now, the CPM jump, then your overall cost is going to come up. Now, the overall cost comes up, meaning that with the same amount that you're spending, you are only able to reach very minimal amount of people. Now, in that case, especially if you're not spending a sizable budget, it's very difficult for your campaign to complete learning or even to get better over time. Now, needless to say, some people actually do not have a long-term campaign planning. That's a different story altogether. But sometimes when you have a smaller, relatively smaller budget, and you are not like Christopher that sells iPhone casing that only can be sold to iPhone users. Now, I'm not saying that it's 100%, but according to his case, I would say I have to agree to that because most of his customers are actually, buying for their own self, and these are all iPhone users, granted. But if your product is not as niche as Christopher, okay, if your product is not as specific, you can actually go on different possibilities. Like recent case we're having over here. It's a baby product. It's a client from Korea. Okay, it's a Korean brand. I'm working with the principal, and they are actually advertising in Malaysia and Singapore market. They're planning to go into so where was that? Thailand and Philippines as well. Now, what happened is they also niche in. At one point they niche in to target people who are only parents who had kids below a certain age because they're selling something very baby niche. Okay, so I was telling them that let's spread a little bit. Then we actually start opening up a different segment because a lot of all these people, especially if you're selling something premium. That's a very, very interesting counterintuitive story. Especially if you're selling something premium, it becomes a gift item. Non-parents buy for their friends because nowadays we still can't really do visitings and all that. But baby's still coming up, right? So we still need to send gifts and all that. We usually, when I want to send gifts, when we can afford, we try to give something better. When it's gift, right, I won't be buying some normal brands. I want something special. And that's how we open up a different market. Super better CPM and actually on par kind of conversion, which means they're actually making more money on this segment, which is non-parents. So just to give you some idea that sometimes we need to be a little bit more open about all the combinations that we have in mind. And that's a very important thing. That's why sometimes we just have to be a little bit more open and don't be overly obsessed. It's something that I would really want you to start ponder. Okay, but of course, if you want to talk about all these audience targeting and all that, I have a lot of videos on my YouTube that talks about that. GY would know that. We have talked about this so many times, but nonetheless, there is no conclusion. There is no one way that rules them all. But I just want you to be open a little bit about the combinations. Okay, so that's number 4. Now let's look at what's number 5. So the number 5 is not excluding. This is really not excluding. In fact, exclusion is one of my best technique that I've ever discovered. Let me put it this way. Now, when you run ads to drive people to your website, and you want people to sign up or even to become your customer on your website, my first question is, do you exclude those who have signed up? Do you exclude those who have become a customer? Now, the next question would be, for how long? Now, to push it further, I would say, what else can you exclude? The reason why you want to exclude people, the reason why you want to start executing effective exclusion in your Facebook ads campaign is to make sure that you can potentially have an evergreen campaign. That's one of the most important criteria to have an evergreen campaign. You want to have evergreen campaign, which I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But one of the most commonly mistake, this one I would say, also 90% of the Facebook advertisers out there do not exclude, including a lot of big brands that I actually observe. Why? Because I bought from them already. I signed up and I bloody made payment, and I'm still bloody seeing the same advertisement. That will result in what? Let you think about it. I want you to take a moment and think about this. Those people who have signed up as your lead or who have purchased from you and still seeing the same ad from you, what would that become? That will become budget waste. You know what? I did a very, cross-platform investigation, observation, as in, among those people who came to me, because recently we opened up this one-on-one so-called Facebook ads campaign audit, where we actually audited a lot of campaigns coming from Turkey, Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and even Korea. Okay, if you are not excluding, let me tell you this crazy number. If you are not excluding, you are potentially wasting at least 30% of your Facebook ads budget to those people who have taken the same action and still seeing your ad again and again and again. 30%, 30. It's a lot of money. Imagine you free this 30% out to other people. Imagine you free this 30% out to reach fresh audiences. What kind of impact? It's gonna be like potentially changing your bottom line by 30%. You see where I'm coming from? That's the power of exclusion. You need to learn that. For those who do not know, you can actually sign up to my courses to learn the exclusion, but I will talk about that in my Evergreen campaign 2-day training, which I'm going to talk about that. Yeah, I'm going to share about that. So that's a very powerful thing. Like Shiwai was saying, learn this from me, right? You learn this from me. Yeah, very powerful. It's the most powerful thing. Exclusion, although a lot of people knows about retargeting, but exclusion is the thing that will change your whole entire campaign. It frees up yourself to go to a level where, you're able to really keep on reaching fresh audiences. It's damn powerful, right? And Andrew was saying, but Facebook still love you even more. I mean, why not, right? So Eric was asking, if conversion is done at a website or beyond Facebook Creative, how do we implement the exclusion? Well, audience, custom audience, people who go to your website, then you can create custom audience out of that. There are so many other things. There are so many different combinations of custom audiences that you can create. Dig back to the campaign. Dig back to the courses that you have over there. Revisit the content, revisit the courses, and you will be able to see a better idea. Sometimes you really have to watch it a little bit more times. Let yourself sink in, play a little bit with it. For those who learn my 2-step funnel framework, it takes a bit of practice, to be frank. Okay, Eric, go over and try that. So that's number 5. Oh, we are coming up to 10. Oh my God, I overrun again. I'm so sorry about that, but I don't think you'll mind. Let's do it quickly, faster a little bit. So number 6, advertising without optimizing. This is very similar to advertising without analyzing, but this one is a little bit more troublesome. Because you may not know how to analyze, fine, but you should have at least some sense of, what to optimize. Now, in fact, this is a step further. In fact, if you know how to analyze, you will find what to optimize. Optimize means what? Like today, also the same coachee, I think today's just happened in the morning. I think it's a very interesting case to discuss. One of the campaign was actually slowing down. And we were actually seeing that, look, although the result was coming down, but the CTR is still doing very good. So what we did actually experimented was, the result is bad, but the CTR is good, meaning that people are interacting with the advertisement. It's just that when it comes to the final leg, right, they are not taking the final action. So what we did was we actually tweaked the objective. We move it, use the same campaign, same audience targeting. We change another objective. And we push a little bit more, and we realize, hey, we get still more leads with the same amount that we are spending compared to the different objective that we were using. So that's one of the things that it comes to optimization. So optimization is really another new ball game, that's really powerful. Like we probably want to adjust a little bit of budget to look at which one works better. Okay, when you have a better CTR on this campaign and it's seeing a good number coming in right now, you probably should scale it. You know, scaling is part of optimization, but optimization is not limited to scaling. Optimization is a constant process that we do on our Facebook ads campaign to constantly in the search of the best way to reduce the cost and increase the ROI. In fact, it is possible. It is totally possible to constantly find ways to get better and better at your campaign. So that's what you need to start learning as well. You need to learn how to optimize your campaign. But here's the thing, a lot of people advertise without knowing what they're doing. So that's something that you want to break away from today. That's why we talk about, you know, mistakes today. But this is a very, very serious topic. You need to advertise a little bit more. So this may not be very suitable to beginners. Okay, so you have to actually do a little bit over here. Okay, so that's number 6, and we have number 7. Now, I would say at least at the moment, we're looking at 95% of the people that I work with, 95% of the people that I work with, cross path with, do not know how to build an evergreen campaign. Now, what is an evergreen campaign? An evergreen campaign is the kind of campaign that can go for long term. The longest that I've seen, recent case, 19 months long campaign, 19. Okay, 19 months long campaign, 100 over 1,000 spent on the campaign itself. We have reached over 1 million people at a count of like close to 5 million times, and we are still getting the result at the optimum level. 19 months, never change creative, never change audience targeting, 100% the original campaign as it started, and until today, we are still getting that kind of optimum result. That's the power of evergreen campaign. Now, a lot of people don't believe in that. Why? Because a lot of people always have this urge of, I think I'm saturating my audience. Let's bloody change the creative. We need a new creative. Now, here's the question. How do you know whether your campaign is actually getting saturated? How do you know? Do you know how to calculate how many percent of the audiences you have reached based on the audience that you're targeting right now? Let's say, for example, if you are targeting 5 million in your audience targeting and you have only reached, okay, 30,000, let's say, 30 to 50,000, let's say, and you're saying that it's saturated. A lot of people do that. A lot of people do that. They always have this fear that, oh, 1 month already, I must change creative. I must do something. Now, exactly the first thing you need to clear out about is you need to understand what is a saturated campaign. The moment you don't know what is a saturated campaign, 100% most of the time you're doing the wrong thing. That's why I want to give you a clear example of 19-month long campaign and still performing at its optimum level. 100% possible. You just need to learn how to actually set up the structure. Now, I want to tell you, on the other hand, the beauty of an evergreen campaign. Now, how many of you feel overwhelmed when it comes to Facebook advertising and you have this constant fear or constant frustration or worry that you always want to go back to the campaign and find out, what should I do next? What should I do next? How can I do better? What am I doing wrong right now? And anytime a fluctuation in your so-called your cost per result, you get super worried about it and jump on it right away, almost instantly. Oh, let's pause this. It's killing my budget already. It's not working. How many of you are feeling that all the time? How many of you are feeling that kind of like uncertainty and, you know, I don't know how to describe this situation. Let me tell you this, I was like you. I want to tell you this because I was running an agency like TY, and for the longest time, this is what we face. Every bloody day, I wake up to clients call and say that, hey, Jason, how's the campaign running? And I'll be like, oh, okay, I need to figure out what's going on and all this kind of thing. Then, you know, these are all the things that actually I face all the time for the past 10 years. And that's exactly why I invented this methodology, this framework, because I want to free myself from this fear. And I want to be able to gain the kind of certainty. It's a very powerful thing the moment you know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it right. It's a very, 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 very powerful thing the moment you know that.
Imagine my client. We don't change campaign, you know. We don't really, like today, we come in, we spend an hour going through 30 over campaigns. We only do 3 adjustments. That's all we need. And the moment we do the 3 adjustments, we keep our hands off it. Because we know, we are very certain, because all our campaigns are evergreen. It will just run. And we know when it stops running. We know when it's saturated. We know that it's not coming together. You need to gain that thing. That's a very powerful thing. Okay? Right? And Dor would say it's you, right? That's exactly. A lot of people are actually having that. So somebody else was saying the CPM shoot up, you will have fear to change your campaign. Exactly, something you need to learn. You need to learn how to look at your campaign. That's what I want to teach you. That's what I want to teach you. And Eric was saying, yeah, and Chiwa was saying, don't describe daily life. You're feeling sorry for yourself already. Every day also client come check on you. I mean, I do that all the time. That's why towards the later part of my career, to be frank, I've been doing that until 2016, until I invented this framework. A lot of you have learned the 2-step funnel framework, but you have not been practicing it. That's why if you are not sure, if you are not certain, I want to invite you to come back for a 2-day free training. This is a 2-day free training. This is a free training. I call it the Evergreen Campaign. Okay, it's going to take place on the 25th and 26th. It's a weekend, Saturday, Sunday at 3 p.m. Malaysia time. Just go to this link, tripwebacademy.com/TEC to sign up. Free 2 days training, no string attached. And I'm going to do all the training that I can teach you to help you. I mean, if you are not sure what's happening, then I will give you some revision. You know, like Eric, you know, good time. Also, Chiwai come together. You know, this will be a very good time for you to actually revisit the whole thing that you probably have learned, but you've forgotten a little bit. You know, because I have improvised my teaching mechanism. Okay, because I work on a different level of clients right now, I'll be able to see things in a very different way. And I have improvised the way I teach. So I want to make sure that you are getting something different. So I'm inviting you to join this 100% free 2 days training. And I'm going to give you all the things that I need you to know on how to build the Evergreen campaign. That's what I want you to do right now. Go over this link. And if you have any friends that you believe that they can benefit from this one, now that today you have gone through all the bloody crazy 7 mistakes that you must avoid. In fact, it's a summary of the 49 mistakes that I actually listed down in the morning until now, right? So, but you know, from this 7, you know that how many you have committed yourself, how many you have actually done it, how many of them you actually kind of like, you know, yeah, you're guilty on that. You know, your friends feels the same. You know, your friends feel the same. There's so many other people who are actually feeling the same. Help me send them to this link. Help me send them to tripwebacademy.com/TEC. You tell them that Jason is the man of his word. I've been doing free training like this for the past few weeks. You know that when it comes to this kind of free training, I'm not going to give you bullshit. 100%. I'm not going to give you bullshit. You know that. So come over, join me in this one, and we learn together. The idea of doing this is very simple because I want to help more people. Remember, I'm on a journey to transform 100,000 businesses by 2025 with better Facebook advertising, with effective Facebook advertising. So help me spread this link to as many people as you can. Bring them into this 2 days free training, and I'm going to give you all the things that you need to know about building the Evergreen campaign. You will be able to gain the kind of certainty. You'll be able to gain the kind of eyes in terms of what to do, when to do, how to do it right, to build your own campaign in a different way. All right, guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you need to watch the replay, go ahead. It's going to be inside this group. If you feel this is good, remember, send your friend to this link so that we can actually work together on the 25th and 26th of September at 3 p.m. in this 2-day free training, which I call the Evergreen Campaign. All right, guys, I'll see you next week. I'm going to do another one. Of course, I will because I can. But nonetheless, I'll see you next week and I'll see you at the Evergreen Campaign. All right, thanks, guys. Good night. I'll see you next week. Bye.